Well, it finished Southampton 1, Arsenal 1 at St Mary's Stadium. Brian, myself and yourself commentating on that game. And despite the scoreline, it was pretty entertaining.
Oh yeah, it was a very good game, Stephen. Lots of energy, lots of endeavour, and points were obviously very important to both teams. With Southampton, they lost 4 games in a row until last week. They got a good draw with West Ham and a win at Bournemouth. An important point for them today, but they're battling to not be in the relegation zone, I suppose, and that was a really important point for them. Arsenal want to stay top of the table and started the game very well. Looked like they were going to overrun Southampton and could have been more than a goal ahead even after 10 minutes. Lots of incidents around the goal. Gavin Bazunu making some good saves. Jesus missing a couple of chances, I would say. But over time, Southampton got themselves into the game, managed to hang in till half time. Only the one goal down without ever really making a chance themselves. Few long throw-ins, corner kicks, had a spell of dominance where they managed to get 5 corners, I think, in a row and keep a bit of pressure on Arsenal without threatening anything significant, I would have said. But eventually they managed to work themselves into the game in the second half, created a good goal and deserved the point, I thought.
A lot of unknowns in that Southampton team, Brian. The likes of Lianco came in at right back, Chileta Sarr, Salicio I know has been there before, but there's a couple of other players there that perhaps people wouldn't be too familiar with. But Hasenhüttl got a tune out of most of those players there today, and after a bad run of games which has left them hovering above the relegation zone, that's the kind of performance that'll give Southampton fans a bit of hope.
Yeah, I think there's been a lot of changes. There always is at Southampton. They're a selling club, really. They have a model of buying players young from European market, a lot of French players, and selling on eventually, or else getting a few good years out of them and letting them go. And you see that in the defence today, but they're missing Kyle Walker-Peters, who's a very important player for them at the back today, and a few other players missing that have given them something and renewed the team a bit. But I thought they played very well today, and there's every reason for the supporters to get behind the team and get behind the manager. Hasenhüttl has been there about 4 years now. He's not had the resources for Southampton really to compete, but they run the club with a well-run club with a certain model. They don't overspend in the marketplace. They stay competitive. They've had a few scraps near the bottom. They had a bad run at the end of last season when they only got 5 points from the last 12 games, but they were still 5 points above relegation, and I think they'd settle for that again this year. They've got 5 very good points from the last 3 games. Now they've got to go on from there and continue to pick up points and avoid spells of losing 4 and 5 games in a row. But the manager's going to be under pressure anyway. I think the last few games before they go to World Cup will be very important for him, but I think the 3 results he's just had will be very encouraging for him, for the supporters, and I hope the board stick with him and back him. I think he's always had an adventurous style in the way the team has played, and I always think he speaks very well after the games, irrespective of result. And over the years, he's had a couple of those really big hammerings. I think they've had a couple of significant scorelines against them. They've had at least 1-9-0 against them. He's come back from those situations and regrouped and got the team back into kind of a winning format where they get enough points to stay steady in mid-table. And I think that's good enough for Southampton.
From a selfish Irish perspective, Gavin Bazunu perhaps didn't get off to a great start in the Premier League this season, but that was to be expected. He's only 20 years of age and he's coming in as a Premier League number 1 after a big transfer from Manchester City. A lot of pressure on his shoulders, but he definitely seems to be warming to it now over the last few games. Would you agree?
I think he's done all right, Stephen. I mean, they've been a team under pressure and he's had lots to do. Yes, he's conceded a fair few goals, but there's been not many goals where you say he was at fault for the goals. I think he's been left exposed at times defensively by the fellas in front of him. But, I think he's done quite well. It's fabulous for his career to be starting in the Premier League now at 20 years of age. He's earned that through his performances at Rochdale and Portsmouth over the past couple of seasons where he's played exceptionally well, and they were prepared to pay biggish money on Southampton's terms to get him from Manchester City, who are his owner really. And I think he played well today. A couple of early saves on the near post when it was important in the match today. After that, he didn't have too many saves to make, but one brilliant save from Jesus in the first half in point blank range was very important to stop them going 2 behind. I don't think they wouldn't have got back into the match at 2-0. And then right at the end of the game, as you said in commentary, his reading of the game from the long ball forward from Tierney, spotted the danger, ball over the top, and Ketia getting onto it, and he was out of his penalty area to head the ball away very efficiently, I'd say, headed her into touch. I thought he was fouled by Nketiah, but the referee blew for full time before the throw in was taken. But it just showed overall in the game he played well. His distribution was good. He didn't have an awful lot of the ball at his feet where he's picking out fellas or anything like that, but I thought a good steady game today to add to his clean sheet against Bournemouth during the week. 2 goals conceded in the last 3 games. Compared to what they've been doing earlier than that, I think that's good for Southampton.
So 11 games in, Brian, for Arsenal, just 5 points dropped altogether. That's another 2 today after the 3 they dropped at Old Trafford. We really have a good sense of the different teams in the Premier League now after that spell of games. Despite today's hiccup, would you still put Arsenal in with a chance of contending for the Premier League title in the second half of the season?
Well, they're in that position. That's the way they have to be thinking now. You know, I think before they played Liverpool and Spurs, people said, well, they haven't really played anyone yet. When they played United, they lost United. But then they beat Spurs convincingly and beat Liverpool well too. 2 high-scoring games, 4-1 against Spurs, 3-2 against Liverpool. But they were well the better team against Liverpool too. So they have to be in contention. I think you get a better flavour of the whole thing when you get towards 80 and 90 matches, when everybody has played everybody else. But I don't think you can say Arsenal have had an easy time or easy matches. You look even last week away to Leeds, they won that game. I think today we saw a little bit of the effect of the Sunday-Thursday situation, Stephen. I didn't think Saka was at his best. He's starting Thursday night. The manager has juggled about the team for the Thursday night games. He generally plays about 5 of what you consider his best starting 11, which was probably on the pitch today. But there was little signs of Martinelli, Saka not been at their best. Jesus maybe took a bit of a battering today. Now he's protected a lot of them. Saka in the middle of the field has been playing. Odegaard hasn't been playing in the Europa League games. Partey hasn't been playing. Partey has played very little in the midweek games because he's had an injury record. He's not played more than 25 games, I'd say, each of the last few seasons. So they're minding him. But the others, they've been juggling them around. And I think you could see signs of that today, that in the second half, they dropped off the level we have seen with them. The energy, the speed of the attacks, the combination plays weren't quite there. There was a lot of misplaced passes and interceptions. So it'll be interesting to see if that continues. They're anxious they've got 12 points. They probably just need one more point now against PSV next week to in the Europa League to ensure that they're going to finish in first place, which will reduce the number of matches they'll have to play in the Europa League after Christmas because it won't be in the playoff. But I think that's had a little bit of an effect on Arsenal. It's the first time I would have said that today. But I think the points total, they've got 28 from 33 is excellent from Arsenal for a team that wouldn't have been expected to challenge Manchester City or Liverpool for the title this season.
And just to finish on Arsenal, Brian, Granit Xhaka, the man who got the goal today, it's been a wonderful season for him. What do you kind of see, as the reasons for him being such an improved player in this Arsenal team?
Well, I think the whole team has improved, and he's obviously the manager has confidence in him. He's playing them consistently. He's adapted his game, and the formation with Partey playing behind him has allowed him to get on into more attacking positions in that inside left channel and get into the box. That's 2 goals in the same position this week, arriving into the penalty spot. Not late, but a little bit later than Jesus, obviously. And his ability to finish has been very impressive with both feet, getting into the box. Brilliant finish today off the cutback from Ben White. But, his all-round game is... He's always had good leadership qualities. That's why he's been captain of his country and captain of Arsenal for a considerable amount of time, because he has... Other players look up to him. He's strong. He's been aggressive. He's had the reputation for doing stupid things, mistimed tackles, getting red cards, getting yellow cards. But those have decreased over the last year or so, and his importance to the team has been pronounced. And the manager is obviously happy with his performances, and he feels comfortable that he's in the team and that he can perform and do what the manager wants him to do. He's always had ability. He's always had a good range of passing, tackling ability, long shooting ability. What we're seeing now of him getting into the box is not always about long shooting. It's about finishing when he gets into the box, about timing, about adjusting his body to get on the end of things and finish off those crosses. As I said, they're kind of like the goals that Manchester City still get, but used to get more before they had Holland and they hadn't got an out-and-out big man centre forward. But very good, very good from Xhaka once again.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you, Stephen. Good game.